Hi all, I don't know if I'm looking for answers anymore or just wanting as many voids as I can find to shout into. I thought at first my wife, 27F, whom I have been with for 10 years and married for 4, may be having an episode of some undiagnosed disorder. I've posted these thoughts on different subreddits. Maybe this is true, but I feel somewhat ashamed from my intellectualizing here. Who am I to make such judgments/armchair analysis? Anyway, I just felt like I needed to write that first. I guess I hope it may be cathartic. So in my story, like with many others, it came as a shock to me. My wife had always described herself as a bit of a prude. Now I see she's ordering tiny knickers for her new affair partner and I'm thinking, what the hell? No one, and the few people I have spoken to about this, ever would have guessed this. Never. She pushed for marriage and kids, and up until circa 6 months ago everything was good. Even up until late November there was no sign of any issues. She had an outburst on Christmas Day, after uncharacteristically drinking rather impulsively, saying I make her miserable and our kids are CNTS in front of her family. We were shocked to hear this doting mother suddenly shift in such a way. Really? Shocked, to be honest, way out of left field. For background, I had been somewhat depressed, not clinically diagnosed, but in hindsight it seems obvious now, at the back end of 2021. This had occurred whilst I tried to help an old school friend, same age as me, 32 meters, overcome their alcohol addiction. For context, my mother was also an alcoholic and had died, very suddenly, a year prior. I don't think I allowed myself to sufficiently grieve this properly, and these feelings became intertwined with my obsessed efforts to help my friend. As you can imagine, I withdrew from family life, 2 young children under 5, and my wife subsequently had to pick up the slack. Time was non-existent for quite some time. On top of this, she had started a very stressful job in a psychiatric unit a few months prior and was at this stage working night shift, 3 by 13-hour shifts. To tell you the truth, I let her down by not supporting her enough during this period. She was not sleeping properly at all and seemed quite up and down from the whole thing. I was too deep in the BS of helping my friend, and the subsequent depression to even notice. I was shitty in many ways, and that I do regret, so I guess I feel betrayed, devastated, crushed and all, but then on balance I guess maybe this created the right atmosphere for something like this to happen. Before Christmas my wife started seeing another man. I found out in February. We talked and decided to keep the marriage going only for the affair to continue. We're now doing a month's separation and I just don't know how to feel. Weirdly, it seems like my wife holds all the cards here in spite of the fact I've been betrayed. I just don't know what to make of the situation. She has not said much about anything other than we need space and refuses to even admit to the affair in spite of clear evidence. We've never really argued, there's been no abuse, no real conflict or anything. Everything's just played out rather nicely until now. We still even would have long, deep conversations about anything and everything, so it's not as if we were bored of each other. Loved spending time together and were intimate outside of depressive episodes. I did engage in snooping, but this was because it became clear something was seriously awry. When I found evidence I was accused of stalking and my wife felt threatened by me. I have never been violent or threatened violence against anyone ever. She's moved in with a friend she's known a whole 9 months, is not really speaking to her family, is still working and has become in my eyes like a totally different person. Changed her appearance overnight, spent a lot of money on new clothes, went from needing to see the kids every day to she will miss them but not seen for 3 to 4 days at a time is okay. Has a new friendship group consisting of her work colleagues, women around her age a bit younger, all of which do not have children and are not married, really interested in astrology, doesn't seem to care about me at all, which is weird as we've been inseparable since meeting. And would still text every day, all day, claimed she feels empty and that we're now just best friends, married with 2 young kids, and for all intents and purposes wants the single life she seemingly never had. For the record, I have never stopped my wife doing anything, but I draw the line at an affair. I feel like if I hadn't called it out we would have just cohabited until something gave way. There's also the fact that despite her wanting to leave me supposedly, she wants us to stay living together until August. Not sharing finances came as a shock to her, the family not being together came as a shock to her, her and I not talking like we do now if we separate was not considered. I've tried to leave and she stopped me, we're just on a month's separation, we're not fully separating. Is it me or is this standard for affairs? Admittedly, I don't know a lot about affairs but this whole thing seems so bizarre. Comment 1. You need to take back control and stop her from walking all over you. She only wanted a separation so she can test drive the new man and keep you as a backup plan if it goes wrong. See a lawyer and file for divorce, your marriage is over anyway. Comment 2. Yay. It's more common than you think for affair stories and relationships that start as children. She never really matured here. And she isn't maturing now. But I can tell you based on experience that she won't be back. The marriage is over. The fact she is abandoning her children tells you exactly where her headspace is. The best thing you can do for your children is start working on legal proceedings to get to what your life divorced will look like. Your kids are suffering. You are suffering. She doesn't care. It's time to stop letting her hold you hostage. You don't recognize the new version of herself and you never will. So it's time to take control of your life and put to paper what needs to be done. In the meantime, you really need to implement the 180 and start gray rocking. Y'all can't be friends. Not under current circumstances. Focus on what the custody agreement needs to be and remember the only thing she is to you now is mother of your children. You can own your behavior here but you don't own hers. She always could have approached you the proper and healthy way. But she's unhealthy. For now, pour all your love into those kids to make up for what they are losing. They need you to make up for the love that they are missing. Comment 3. Your marriage is over, sorry my friend. Divorce her and find someone who will love and respect you. Don't you take her back. Comment 4. This is standard for affairs, well actually standard for cheaters that have been with someone for so young. I've stated it before and I'll say it again, which some people don't agree with, but as evident by countless posts on here, any couples that have been together since their teenage years always come on here and posts why they are having problems, why they're so cheated, etc. This is why. And for all intents and purposes wants the single life she seemingly never had. You hit the nail on the head with that statement. That is exactly what is happening. There's not much bizarre or out of the norm from your wife now that she's checked out. I hope you find the legal resource to divorce and have a happier life without her. Comment 5. If you have any intention of staying in this marriage, give her divorce papers immediately. You are strictly a backup plan at this point, so she needs to know you are seriously not going to accept this behavior. She respects you less with every day that you don't do anything. I'm not sure why you would want to stay with her, but there's no chance of it working while you sit there doing nothing. Google Pick Me Dance.
Thanks you for watching Everyday New Movies. See you soon.